Доброго вечора, ми з України.
Hello, comrades, and welcome back to Ushanka Show. Здравствуйте, дорогие товарищи. В эфире программа Ushanka Show.
You are a fucking agent. All of your pictures are bullshit. Your arguments, too. Look, inequality on USA. USSR was a young country developing. You would be better than China is today. You were an anti-communist. Just accept it, brother. The opportunities you claim are nothing compared to millions of Americans. And are not in Russia because migrated. USSR gave you everything, hypocritical scumbag.
In today's video, we're gonna watch some amazing Soviet cartoon from 1929, and we're gonna learn a new Russian-Soviet word. Прогульщик. Прогульщик. There are several translations of this word. Truant, I never heard that before. Slacker, that's the one I like. Quitter, not really. And wag. So прогульщик is the person who skips work. So skipper. But mostly a slacker sounds about right. So the person that shows up to work late or doesn't show up at all. So if you have any better translations, please let me know, but I will go with slacker. Прогульщик. A problem with прогульщики, slackers, was persistent through the whole history of the Soviet Union from the early days till the late 80s, which I remember myself. Problem with прогульщики, and at this poster, it's definitely from the early 1920s because it says прогульщик, so slacker, stop, you're helping counter-revolution. So during the Civil War in Russia, which is like ended in 1922, they already had problem with people not showing up for work, and it's claiming that if you don't show up at work, you're helping counter-revolution. I never thought about analyzing slackers, but there were passive slackers and active slackers. So active slackers are just people that were late for work or never showing up, while passive slackers will come to work on time, but then they will spend a lot of times smoking, taking smoke breaks. Like on this poster, there's a question, где прогульщик? Where's the slacker? He's alive. He's in the smoke cloud in a smoke room. Without extra words, quit smoking. You're wasting millions of hours doing a smoke break. So here's another poster on the topic of extra smoke breaks. This one probably from 60s or 70s. So once again, he's the прогульщик, he's курилка, which is the person that smokes too much. And you could tell he's taking very long smoke breaks consisting of at least 6 cigarettes. And the paper behind is called plan. So arm kind of shows that plan goes down while, plan needs to go up. So you do better than was planned. In this case, it goes way worse because of those extra smoking breaks. I found this poster quite interesting and I had to look it up a couple of things. So it says, на черную доску рождественского прогульщика. On a black board, so it's like a board of shame, we'll talk about it a little bit later, needs to go the Christmas slacker. So this interesting terminology, рождественский прогульщик, Christmas slacker. So it's a person who partied on Christmas and then he didn't show up for work. Another interesting detail about this poster is the calendar page, which has 2 dates, December 25th and January 7th. And then it says прогульщики, slackers. So that's when you put names of the people that didn't show up for work on December 25th or January 7th. So why is that dual date? Of course, December 25th is official Christmas pretty much all over the world. Well, while the Soviet Union tried to break away from the Western traditions, they discovered it was impossible to quit Christmas right away. So first step was done is to move Christmas from the 25th to January 7th. It's when the calendars were switched, so they decided we will move the date of Christmas along with the other dates, just like revolution happened on November, according to the new calendar, but it's always called October Revolution. Similarly, Christmas was moved from 25th to January 7th, although religious holidays, they by tradition stay on the old dates. And here's another interesting fact about life in the Soviet Union that I just learned myself. So 1929 was the last year when Christmas Day, so December 25th, and day after Christmas, the 26th, were official days off in the Soviet Union. In 1930, those were canceled and people had to work. So based on this information, we can make an educated guess that the poster was drawn sometimes after 1929 but before 1940, and we'll talk about it later. So people still were partying for the Christmas and not showing up for work on that date. So you're supposed to be working now on December 25th, but they had Christmas slackers, рождественские прогульщики, that still preferred to drink and sleep at home. Meanwhile, Christmas celebration was replaced with New Year celebration, празднование Нового года. And I already made a video about the top 10 holidays in the Soviet Union. I'll post the link below this video. The most popular way of fighting with прогульщики, slackers, was public shaming. Like in this picture, there's actually a sign on the house that is, in this building, in apartment number 3, lives slacker Kulikov, who works at the factory electric, and with his systematic slacking, so систематические прогулы, he's destroying plan of the factory. So factory doesn't perform as well because he's systematically skipping work. So originally in the 20s and 30s, it was called черная доска, blackboard. Later, the name was just доска позора, the board of shame, and that's what they were publicly showing names of people that didn't show up for work because they were drunks, or they had a poor quality products, or they were just lazy, didn't produce according to the plan. So public shaming was the tool that they tried to fight slackery and other problem. Because of the 100% employment, they couldn't really fire people. So that was the way you could try to change them and punish them as public shaming. But it appears that public shaming didn't work really well in the fight against slackery. And Soviet government in June of 1940 introduced a new law where not showing up at your place of work without valid excuse or being late could be punished by the prison time between 2 to 6 months. So this poster reflects the new reality. It says «Прогулы ликвидировать полностью. Борьба с прогульщиками и дезорганизаторами производства есть борьба за укрепление мощи нашей Родины и ее Красной Армии. Прогульщиков под суд». So slacking must be liquidated completely. The struggle against slackers and people that disorganize the production is the struggle for reinforcing the power of our motherland and its Red Army. Slackers should be going to jail. And I know that some совкадрочеры, people that think their life in the Soviet Union was amazing and everything was done by Comrade Stalin was justified, they claim, well, the World War was around the corner and Stalin had no choice but introduce such a draconian law. But guess what? This law remained in force all the way till April of 1956. So 11 years after the end of World War II, Soviet Union still had a prison term for anyone who was showing up at work late or not showing up without valid excuse. Only after the death of Joseph Stalin, that law was cancelled. So then the Soviet system returned back to the public shaming and some financial punishment, like this poster shows. So once again, it shows the shoe of person walking away and a bottle, so because of drinking. And it says «Прогульщик теряет право на премию, 13-ю зарплату, отпуск в летнее время, путевки в дома отдыха, очередь на квартиру и уважение коллектива». Slacker will lose his bonus, 13th зарплата. So, you work 12 months and you get paid 12 times, but as a bonus, quite often factories paid so-called 13-я зарплата. So that was like an annual bonus, the 13th salary. They will lose vacation in the summertime. So you still keep your vacation, but it will be in the fall or in the winter, which is not cool. Then you're going to lose путевка. So that's your travel voucher в дом отдыха, the places of rest. We had videos about that already. And you're going to lose your place on the waiting list for an apartment. That's the worst punishment imaginable because, waiting lists could be up to 10 to 20 years, like my dad's. And if you lose your turn, it's lose years of your life to get a nice apartment. And you're going to lose respect of your coworkers. So here's another example of public shaming. So this form was actually printed and you just filled up the names. So that's the kind of like advertisement ad about прогульщик, the slacker, and on the top the little note says вывесить на видном месте. So you need to display that in the location that everyone can see. And it very much says that your worker on such a date in 1970s совершил прогул без уважительной причины. So he skipped the work without valid excuse. You need to discuss and shame прогульщик among your workers. And then you need to let us know in 10 days what would be done about it. And in the end says прогульщиков вон из коллектива. So actually it sounds like they could hire their slackers. So they said they need to be gone, вон, from the collective. And it's 1970. And now, as I promised, we're going to watch a cartoon from 1929 that shows прогульщик. And this, of course, black and white and had no sound, but I'll do some translation for it. This cartoon is actually in Ukrainian language. It was filmed in Ukraine. In the beginning, there's the message that says «Масове соціалістичне змагання є запорука виконання п'ятирічного плану». So, collective socialist competition is the guarantee of completing the 5-year plan. So 1929, there's already Stalin's 5-year plan in works, and this is the reflection of it. Прогульник. Factory read somebody. 7 o'clock in the morning. Workers' badges. Since some workers taking their badges. 10 a.m., one badge still there. Once again, we have issue with bottles at 40%. And worker Gavrilo for the bottle forgets his factory and work. Why not working? Чому ти не працюєш? Гуляю. I'm just having good time. Having good time. Прогульник. You're slacker. You're drunkard. Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out. Get out! So his wife sends him away. Get out! Get! Get out, slacker! Whoa! Shame to drunkard and slacker. Boycott him. Okay, my friends, all I have for you today. As always, please don't forget to like this video. And after this, I will show again the same cartoon not being molested by my translation, so you can enjoy it in silence like Ukrainian workers used to do. Thank you so much, and we'll talk to you soon. До свидания. Goodbye.
Sergei wrote a book based on diaries he made when he was first in the United States. And as I understand, this is just volume 1, right?
That's correct.
He's going to have multiple volumes coming out. Well, I said, well, since Sergei is kind enough to come up and speak with us, I bought the book. I said, I might as well read this. I read this in one sitting, 2 hours, 2.5 hours. I just couldn't put it down. It was so fascinating because your writing is very compelling, for one. And his story is very interesting for two. It's very interesting. You know, we've lived here our whole lives. We don't have that perspective. It's just so interesting to hear someone else's perspective about what we take for granted. So I hope you really tune in and listen to what he has to say. It's a very interesting, very informed perspective. Sergei is not a historian. He's an electrical engineer by trade, but I find that he has a depth of understanding on history, economics, culture. So just a very observant fellow and a great storyteller. So like